Irrelevant backstory. I have two daughters, one is 21 and in college, the other is 26, and because of a lot of factors, finds herself pregnant, divorcing her husband, and needing to live in our house for the foreseeable future, and I am happily married to their mother. The other notable character is my cat Lieutenant, we call her Leut. I found Leut in a dumpster almost 10 years ago when she was only a week old, got her to the vet, and she has been my best buddy for the last decade. She is now my grumpy old little shadow whenever I'm home. So yesterday I came home from work and I hear my eldest daughter calling me from the kitchen. My wife and eldest then tell me that Leut is getting old, dad, and with a baby coming we didn't think it was safe to keep an old grouchy cat around an infant. So we made the decision today to send Leut to a shelter so that she can find a family that is more in line with what she needs. I told them both they were way out of line, not in so many words, and we would talk when we get back. I drive to the closest shelter, find Leut, prove ownership, pay the $100 fee to get her back, and take her home. So here is the drama part. When I get home I call a family meeting and tell my eldest she doesn't get to make decisions about my pets without consulting me. Leut only wants to be left alone, and even if it came to it, I would rather exhaust all my options before putting Leut through life at a shelter. My eldest began arguing with me that Leut would be a liability around an infant, and she is unpredictable, untrue, she is either asleep, sitting on her cat tree, or eating. At that point, I saw red and told her my cat is well trained and dared her to come up with one instance of Leut even scratching someone, which she couldn't, but kept insisting that old cats are inherently dangerous for kids. I then told her that she had 1 month to get a new place to live, as she clearly doesn't respect me or my things, and that if Leut so much as lost a whisker, I would hold her personally responsible. My wife and younger daughter are now begging me to change my mind, as with my eldest's current financial condition, I would probably be condemning her to homelessness, and that my daughter should come before a cat. Am I the idiot for kicking my daughter out after she tried to get rid of my cat? Not the idiot. If she wanted you to have pity for her she shouldn't have come in so confidently acting like an entitled brat. I'm sorry but you've had the cat for 10 years. It's absurd and selfish to come into your house and tell you have to get rid of it because she got knocked up. I have a young cat, but my mom has my childhood cat at her house who is 18 years old. He's a tomcat and so grumpy. However, when my daughter is around he literally softens and melts over her. He loves her so much and she brings him so much happiness. She's his baby more than mine at this point. Everyone's the idiot here. To be fair, I think your daughter is a way bigger idiot. She had absolutely no excuse for pulling what she did. You do not get rid of someone's pet. There's no excuse for that crap. However, you throwing her out is definitely an overreaction. Personally, I'd give her an ultimatum, live with a cat or find someplace else. At least this way when she's living on the street, it's because of her own stupidity and not because daddy chose his cat over his own daughter and grandchild. Not the idiot. You have given her 30 days to find suitable accommodations. She can apply for welfare, she can apply for assisted living. She is a grown adult. When you adopted that cat you adopted it for its whole life. Not 10 years. Not until it was independent. Kids grow up, but domestic animals will always be dependent on their humans. We have bred them to be. The only concern for pregnant or nursing mothers is that they shouldn't go near the kitty litter and the cat should be healthy. Otherwise adult cats are safe around babies. So I have a 16-year-old daughter that I share with my ex-husband who I share a good co-parent relationship with his. My 16-year-old daughter lives with me full-time because her dad lives in a different school district and she didn't want to leave that school and prefers our neighborhood and just area in general. My younger brother also lives with us. He has Down syndrome, which comes with a few other issues, and can't really live on his own, and when our parents died 3 years ago he moved in with me. Lately, my daughter has been posting videos on her account on the app TikTok of her making fun of my brother. She'll record him struggling to read out loud or just doing other things he has issues doing. It's a pretty popular account with 10,000 followers. I found it and took her phone away and she said, "Why does it matter if I record that R slur?" And has started being really mean to him and ignoring everything I say. I tried putting her in therapy so she could talk to someone else, maybe she feels jealous of him, but nothing has worked. I was speaking to her dad and he brought up her living with him to get her way and changing the routine around. So last week I told her she was going to go live with her dad and stepmom and the visitation would switch around. She freaked out and screamed about all the reasons she hated his house and told me I was choosing her over her, calling him another slur. I posted about this issue in a Down syndrome support group and got attacked for shipping my daughter off and got called a terrible mother. Am I the idiot for essentially choosing my brother's happiness over my teenage daughter? No idiots here, but as someone who lives closely with someone who has a disability, please note that your daughter may have been feeling neglected for some time. I strongly recommend that you all go to family therapy and lay out a process for her to be able to return to the house. I also hope that you will be honest with yourself about your own behaviors and how they may have contributed to the situation. I hope that doesn't come across as blame. I see that you are in a hard situation and there is no question that you're a good person doing your best. Everyone's the idiot here. Purely because there seems to be more going on here, she specifically focuses on him and insults him, which is not okay. But it may be she sees him as intruding on her life and him taking massive amounts of attention away from her. Growing up with a sister with severe attention deficit, I remember often feeling second in line all the time. Attention was rarely aimed towards me. I got punished for stuff my sister got away with, etc. I can't even imagine how much worse this is with Down syndrome and said person not even being your sibling. Not the idiot. You're not choosing her over your brother. It's not like she's just complaining to you in private or has expressed concerns to you that she's jealous. She's choosing to be cruel to a disabled person. And after being told not to do that, escalating her behavior. You're taking actions to protect your brother's mental well-being and teaching her a lesson. If she wants to live in your house, she has to treat you and your brother with respect. Her actions are her choice, but you don't have to choose to keep letting her have access to her target. I'd been seeing Ben for about 2 months before COVID. We'd really only been on dates to bars or coffee shops, grabbed snacks, etc. We texted and video chatted through lockdown, then when things in our state started slowly getting better, we met up in the park, then later went on some walks, etc. My profiles always talk about the fact that I'm an adventurous eater. I will eat most things, barring organ meats, which is a hard pass. I told Ben I'd cook for him and let me know if he had any dietary restrictions. He didn't say anything. When he arrived, I'd made a bunch of different things together, but there wasn't any meat in any of the dishes. I didn't think it was necessary for anything that I made, mostly Punjabi recipes a friend and her mom taught me. Everything was going really well until the end of the meal, when Ben kept looking around and said, "So what's next?" I said, "Oh, that was all of it. Do you want more, whatever, I can't remember." He got cloudy and said, "That's it? Nothing else?" I said no, I didn't plan for anything else. "Are you still hungry?" He said, "Well yeah, there wasn't even any meat." Of course I'm still hungry, but he did it kind of laughing, so it was meant to be a joke, funny. I said, "Oh, I didn't make anything with meat. I didn't think it was necessary." He said, "Yeah. I just can't feel satisfied with a meal unless there's meat in there. It's just not a complete meal, it's just side dishes." At that point where I said, "Okay, I didn't realize you didn't tell me you had any dietary restrictions. I'll keep that in mind for next time." This super pissed the guy off though. He got pretty annoyed and said, "It's not a dietary restriction, it's just how I eat." I smiled politely and got up to start clearing things up, but he wasn't done. Dietary restrictions are for people who don't eat meat. Eating meat is normal. I thought you ate meat on our last date. I do eat meat, just not with every meals. So, anyway. Kept trying to shift the convo, but it was kind of fruitless. He then got pretty annoyed and suggested that I was trying to force him into becoming vegetarian and that I should have been more clear with him that he wasn't getting a full meal. I told him that next time someone cooks for him, I hope he'll be forward and let them know more about his dietary restriction. Then I told him I figured this wasn't going to work out and I didn't like his aggressive attitude, so I thought it was best to just cut our losses. He got even pissier and stormed off. He texted me a bunch later, apologizing for blowing up, but insisting that if he'd had a full meal, he probably wouldn't have felt so shaky and unbalanced. It's been a few days and no one is blowing up my phone, no one is calling me out, etc. But this dude is, and I guess since this has literally never come up for me before, I want to know. Am I the idiot? Should I have really told the dude ahead of time he wasn't getting a hunk of meat with dinner? Not the idiot. How very silly of him. I'd be giving this guy a hard pass for several reasons. Expensive, meat with every meal, very pricey. Bad for the environment. No matter what your views on environmental conservation, it's pretty clear-cut that less is better when it comes to meat. Seems likely that if he's this narrow-minded on this issue, he's likely to be inflexible on other issues too. He's potentially lining himself up for all kinds of health issues, including but not limited to bowel cancer and high cholesterol. Not the idiot, he was very demeaning about the food you made and rude. I do like your use of dietary restriction, since he has restricted himself to a very specific demanding diet. He likely took it as an insult, since many interpret dietary restriction as being either medical or frou-frou, and therefore weak in either case, but he honestly deserved it. I would actually be surprised if every meal he made for himself had meat, since it's a lot of work, while he expects others cooking for him to go through more effort. You dodged a bullet. Not the idiot. Must-eat meat is a strange dietary restriction. It's like being an obligate carnivore, as opposed to standard humans who are omnivores. Most meat eaters, in the normal sense of the term, can eat meat. Your boyfriend must eat meat. That is what makes it unusual. My boyfriend is the same in that all his meals must have meat. But even he realizes that this requirement is unusual and very specific to him, and if he happened to be provided with a vegetarian meal, he would take the responsibility to source some additional meat, not demand or expect someone else to cater for that. Found out a couple days ago that our daughter, 17, is pregnant. I was so angry that I just went numb and walked away. I've never been so disappointed in my life. We used to be super close, but I don't even talk to her anymore. Today my daughter came over to me while I was watching TV and asked if we were still watching the Super Bowl together. I was going to ignore her, but I told her, this is the last time I'm speaking to you, because obviously everything I've been telling you over the years just goes in one ear and out the other. I've never been so disappointed in my life. I told you about safe lovemaking, rubbers, birth control. On top of that, you betrayed my trust. You used to tell me everything. I argued with your mother all those times about letting you go to your boyfriend's house because I thought you were responsible and that you would come to me if anything happened. But I was wrong. So from now on, don't talk to me ever again. Anything you want to talk to me about, go tell your mother and have her pass it on to me. Later, my wife comes into my den and asks what happened. I told her to ask her daughter. She said she did, but she couldn't understand her because she was crying so much. I told her what I had said and she got upset and said that I have to talk to her. I told her no, I already did. And I'm not talking to her again until I feel comfortable, and I don't know when that might be. Maybe never. Our daughter told us she was pregnant not last Friday, but the Friday before that. Like I said, I haven't been speaking to my daughter since then, but my wife used to tell me what was going on until I told her to stop. What I've been told. The boyfriend wants to be a part of my daughter's life and raise the baby. His family is supportive. My daughter and her boyfriend were practicing safe lovemaking and using rubbers, but he ran out one day and they decided to use the pull-out method. And that's when I told my wife I didn't want to hear anymore. You are the idiot. Wow, so you are outsourcing your parenting duties to the good old-fashioned silent treatment. Guess what? Accidents happen. And unless you had a steady supply of made birth control available to your daughter, then I'm not sure how giving her safe lovemaking talks will help much. Safe lovemaking talks also need to be paired with making the resources available to young people. If you don't, they're still going to have lovemaking because they're still figuring out what the hell is going on. She's never had a kid. She doesn't know exactly how hard that can be, especially for a minor. You are the idiot and you probably just ruined your marriage as well as your relationship with your child. Your daughter is probably terrified, your wife is trying to help her child, and you think the best thing is to create a whole new layer of drama and make the situation all about you. You're needed right now by the women in your life, and instead, you've decided to be considerably worse than useless. Well done. If you decide to opt out of your relationships, don't expect to be able to opt back in when you get over yourself. Not the idiot. I get it. And everyone that is saying you are an idiot doesn't have kids. You are so hurt and disappointed right now that you can't stand to look at her because you know she just ruined her life for the next 18 years. You raise them and sacrifice because you chose to have kids, and then they go and do something stupid like this. You also know that you will eventually talk to her again, and you will also always love her, But she definitely has to live with the consequences of hurting your relationship. My wife had already taken one test and gotten a faint positive. She was fairly sure she was pregnant because of that and the symptoms she'd been experiencing, so when she tested a few days later she asked our daughter if she wanted to do it with her. Our daughter did, so they took the test together. I only found out later when the test confirmed my wife was pregnant and she told me. I let my wife know that I thought this was bad parenting. Our daughter, 10, is still too young to be exposed to things like that and certainly up close. There was no reason or justification for it. I have never heard of a mother doing a pregnancy test together with her daughter, and even if it was a thing, it would still be wrong in my view. She also should have asked me first before she did something like this. I don't think this decision should have been made unilaterally. All of this makes it a really poor decision, in my opinion. My wife doesn't agree. She felt it was a bonding experience and an opportunity for her and our daughter to talk more about their bodies and educate her more on pregnancy and the reproductive system. She thinks I owe her an apology for saying she acted like a bad parent in that situation. I disagree. Not sure if either or both of us are being the idiot. Leaning toward you are the idiot. Mom wanted to include daughter in the addition of a sibling to the family and further talk to her about pregnancy and the kinds of things she can expect when she becomes of age. As long as the discussion was age appropriate, I'm not quite sure what your beef is. I could see being upset if it was complete news to you and you wanted to know first, but otherwise, I'm not sure what you think is wrong about the situation. Edit. Definitely you are the idiot. You want mom to handle it and don't want to know about it, but you want to criticize her while waiting longer to educate your daughter. No sir. All of that is your opinion. Your opinion is not the only correct opinion. Clearly, your wife has a different opinion. As an adult and a parent, it's about time that you started accepting the possibility that your point of view and your feelings are not the only ones that matter. You are the idiot here for thinking your view is the only one that could possibly be correct and calling your wife a bad parent because of it. Personally, I don't think your wife is a bad parent and I agree with her about both the bonding aspect and I also think it was good for her to share that moment with your daughter because having a new baby will be affecting the entire family, not just the parents. You are the idiot. You make it sounds like she made something inappropriate in front of her. She was right that it was great way how to open conversation about pregnancy and human body with your daughter. She would be curious anyway. Once your wife starts to get some belly and like this, your wife is setting really open relationship for her and your daughter because she is very open and your daughter won't be afraid to ask her about personal stuff in future like birth control or protection. She is also showing her that there is no reason to be ashamed of your body, so I really don't think she owes you an apology.